Verde.
So
Are we on yet?
Yep, we are
Public?
live. We are live and open to the public.
Okay.
Okay, Madam Clerk?
Councilmember Von Rudenberg,
Here.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino,
Here.
Councilmember Pataglia.
Here.
Councilmember Carroll,
Here.
Mayor LaBrus.
Here.
This meeting is being held in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act and JSA 10:4-6 at SEC. Notice having been published according to law with a copy on file in the city clerk's office and a copy posted on the bulletin board in City Hall. Pursuant to the
Okay.
Open Public Meetings Act and recent regulations issued by the state of New Jersey, the following procedure will be in effect for public comment during this remote public meeting. The public shall have an opportunity for comment during the designated public portion of this meeting. The time period for public comment is limited to 3 minutes for each speaker, and no person may address the council more than once, except for speaking during an advertised public hearing for an ordinance. At the time designated for public comment, the mayor or other presiding officer of the council will recognize one speaker at a time. That speaker must identify himself or herself by full name and whether or not he or she resides in Hackensack. No other member of the public is permitted to speak unless recognized by the presiding officer, and other remote attendees may be muted during that time if necessary to eliminate background noise. Meeting attendees shall exhibit appropriate demeanor during this meeting as required by Section 37-15 of the City Code. In the event any member of the public becomes disruptive at any time, that individual may be muted by the presiding officer and will receive a warning that continued disruption may result in being prevented from speaking or removed from the meeting entirely. The Zoom meeting platform has a texting function. However, this is to be used only for the purpose of advising the city's IT staff of any technical concerns or issues. The public may also submit written public comments to be audibly read into the record by the city clerk during the public portion of any remote public meeting of the city council. Comments can be submitted by regular mail or by email to asaby@hackensack.org. Comments received less than 5 hours before the start of a meeting may be carried to the next meeting. Any person who actually speaks during the public comment portion of a remote public meeting may not also have a comment read into the record. The city clerk will stop reading a written comment into the public record once it reaches the 3-minute limit. Duplicate written comments may be summarized and noted for the record in a consistent manner.
Thank you. Would everybody please rise for the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United
States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Caruso, you're up.
Thank you, Mayor. The first item on the agenda for tonight is a presentation concerning State Park splash pad and the State Park building substitution, and project management team will be making that presentation.
Ryan and Susan. Susan and Ryan, are you up?
Yep. Ryan should be on and Susan is joining right now.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, City Manager, Mayor and Council. Thank you so much for having Ryan and myself present these two topics regarding Stye Park. So though two topics are related to Stye Park, I just want to distinguish that they're two separate topics and not distinctly related to each other, or they're not related to each other in terms of project. That being said, I'm going to present the substitution for the building first and then the splash park. So I'm going to share my screen. Can everyone see that?
Hasn't come on. There it is. Yep.
Okay, great. Thank you. So first, this is the specified building. I have a couple of PDFs, so I don't want to dig into this one per se, but just for some reference, this is the specified building. The elevations are shown here. The plan view is here, and here is the foundation plan. Due to this particular specified building being a 6-month lead time, the contractor has proposed the substitution, which is this. This is the shop drawing for the substitution. Here we have the elevations and the floor plan. From that, what we've created, or what was created, was a matrix differentiating the different elements of each building and the differences between the two. I'll go through where each element either does not meet the specification and which element exceeds the specification. To help us visualize that, we have this plan where they superimposed these shadings of the specified building over the proposed substitution. So again, the black and white line work is the substitution proposed, and the colors, red and green, are the overlay of the specified building. So I'm going to pull this up once again and just go line item by line item for only the things where it doesn't match. So in general, the overall footprint decreased by about 2.5 feet or 2 feet 8 inches per side. So again, the original specified size was 26 feet 8 inches by 26 feet. And the substitution is 24 feet by 23.5 feet. That's an overall change of about 100. Hold on, let me just go to my notes because I don't have that part memorized. 1 second.
Susan, I got it. It's 129 gross square feet smaller.
Oh, thank you, Ryan. Thanks, Ryan. So that being said, since the overall footprint changed, some of the layout as well as the dimensions of the bathrooms have changed. So you can see here, the footprint is a little bit smaller. The gross square footage is smaller. The bathrooms are smaller. Again, this side is the substitution and this is the specified. That being said, even though it's decreased in size, some things have increased, such as the mechanical room that's increased from 67 square feet to 79 square feet. Additionally, the type of door has exceeded specification. So we've got the 416 GA steel commercial doors, and now we have 5. Additionally, in the original specification, we have the bathroom accessories. However, in the substitution, I think we get more. Let me zoom out. So our substitution includes soap dispensers, trash receptacles, paper towel dispensers, not included in the specification, but the sub does. Additionally, in the substitution, we get a mop sink, an additional hand sink, and an additional water heater, where the specified just has 1 30-gallon and the substitution has 1 30-gallon and 1 12-gallon. For the concession stand window, the specified has a stainless steel counter, whereas the substitution does not. Lastly, there is a lighting in the chase in the substitution, whereas it isn't in the specification. Now, due to the change in size, there is a small credit that's being offered because of the variance in the product. But again, the intent is to meet the project schedule, since the specified building is a 6-month lead time. And as of now, the substitution is a 14-week lead time. That being said, I invite any questions regarding this subject at this time from Mayor and Council.
Yes, Susan, this building is totally prefabricated as well.
Correct.
Correct. Are there any issues with the installation of this that change from the other building?
No, we've been pretty strong with our position in terms of the impact to trees.
Okay. Questions, council?
Susan, how does the cost compare?
Ryan, do you have that ready available by any chance? Just give me a
Give me
minute.
1 sec. I don't know if it's on this matrix.
It isn't. I had it somewhere. Let me just try and remember where I put that.
You
I'm
don't
just
have to
gonna
tell me
stop.
exact numbers. Was it more or less? Let's put it
It
that
was
way.
less. The
Okay.
substitution is, we're going to get a credit.
Good enough. Thank you. Don't
Okay.
go crazy.
Okay, my question is this, right? If you say that the original building was supposed to be 6 months from now, that means if you count the 2 months November, December, plus 4 months in the winter. That means that by April, the building should be done, correct? 6 months, right? So what is the reason to lose 120 feet square footage when we don't want to do anything with the building for the next 6 months, correct?
Correct. That's, yeah, a decision for mayor and council.
So for me, I don't know about the rest, but if I have to wait 6 months, you got November, December, plus 4 months of winter time, nobody gonna use it. And this particular building, after they finish, they can be put on in maybe 3-4 days. It's a 1, 2, 3 assembly, you know? I watched the way they did it in Carver Park, and they come with a cruise and they mount it like in 3-4 days, it's done. So the main thing is to get the building finished by the guy that's selling the building. So if we got 6 months to go, to lose 120 square footage, to me, don't make any sense. That's my opinion.
I think
Thank you, Leo.
the main question is the concrete, right? We have to kind of work around the weather with the concrete. Is that going to be a barrier?
Well,
Or
when
no?
they do the foundation work, that's separate from this. So if we do the 14 weeks, they could, yeah, the methodology is with the contractor. So they could 2.5 months. That's true. So yeah, it really depends on the contractor, and you are correct. So the concrete is weather dependent,
Yeah.
and that is for the foundation work. But again, yeah, I understand what you're saying. Leo, it is a reduction in the square footage, but also a pickup in these other items. So it's entirely a mayor and council and city manager decision, looking at these different items and what is of value to you. Is it the square footage or is it these other items? And the schedule.
All right, can you send us all the specs, send the council
Of course.
member, every council member the specs, and also all the financials on this too?
Certainly. Any other questions before I move on to the next topic? Okay, thank you, Stephanie, and thank you, Leo. So the next is Splash Park. So the Splash Park at Stibe is in its concept form, and we wanted mayor and council as well as the public to provide any feedback. So there's one layout, which is here. Again, here's Summit Avenue, here's Coles, where parking can be done here. So here is, again, the first location close to these residents. And the second location is, just make sure this is right. Oh, wait. Oops. Is this location, which is closer to the baseball field. Again, here's location 1, concept A, location 2, concept B. Again, it is completely conceptual. Just to assist with some visualization, here are some potential features. Again, this is for illustrative purposes only. So there's this version where you have these different features. And then this version, which looks quite similar in layout, but again, just some minor changes in the features. We're very far away from that. Predominantly what we want to speak about tonight is just these two possible locations. What is mayor and council's interest as well as the public? That's the end of my presentation. Again, we open it up to mayor and council, city manager for any comments, questions.
My first question, which always comes into play with Stibe Park, does it involve the removal of any trees?
Nothing.
Correct, Leo.
Okay.
So thank you, Mayor. For these two locations, there is no impact to the trees. Right here in the lighter gray, I'm not sure if you could tell because I'm on a small screen, but this lighter gray, these are all trees and those are existing trees. The heavier line weight is the proposed improvements that is currently being installed by the contract or will be installed under the current contract with, what is their name? Ryan, do you remember the name of the contractor? It's the open contract now.
North Creek.
Thank you. North Creek. So that's the proposed work. And then this shading area. as you can see, does not impact any of the existing trees.
Okay, what about utilities? Are all staying the same? Well, going back to the other building real quick, utilities are staying the same, I assume on that. What's the utility involvement on this? Do we know that yet?
So yeah, the water supply is one, and then secondly is the drainage. So that will be accommodated. Currently, we have vetted out that the water supply is sufficient to support this, but we don't have drainage going to either location at this time, but we can certainly include that prior to developing this area.
Yeah, I think it's dependent. It's also dependent on the type of amenities in the splash park itself. That depend, that'll determine how many lines running to it and return lines going back. And I think either layout, the mechanical room will be inside the new concession building, correct, Susan?
Correct.
Yeah, that is the anticipation. It's set up to accommodate that. However, I wanted to confirm with Recreation as well as DPW if they had an intended use for the storage or mechanical room in there.
Well, the mechanical room won't be part of the actual concession area, will it? They have to be separate because there's.
It is separate. So
Yeah,
just to go
correct.
back, and I'm going to zoom in.
There's
So they
it's the middle part, I think,
This
right?
right here is the mechanical area, and they could retrofit it to accommodate the splash park. It can do that now. However, I'm not really certain if Recreation or DPW intended on using this to support their programs as storage.
Is there any storage space left over after this? With the mechanicals in there?
No.
Nothing at all.
I mean, you could build, I don't know if you want to do this, but this is the concession area, which is pretty large.
Right.
You can accommodate something there like
yeah,
they got
like-
in Johnson Park.
Here's a door and here's a door. They might be able to, I don't know.
I think the
something-
only group that would really use storage there is the summer rec program. But I did want to follow up because I actually, somebody posted in the comments and I was actually thinking the same thing. The two locations that were options, I think the one where it was more to the south, I guess closer to Summit, is just too close to those properties there.
Okay, so concept A.
Yeah, because to the left, you don't have properties backing up from it.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it's closer to the utility supplies. So
Yeah.
running those lines.
Because this is all kind of green space and trees there. I would just be a little concerned that it's so close to their property lines there.
So
Sure,
we
thank
agreed,
you.
yeah, we agreed the area by the swings, where the swings are right now.
Concept B, this one.
Yes,
Mhm.
Okay, so that's the preferred layout. Okay,
that's all open space, correct? Surrounding it, that's
Right.
all grass
It's
and trees.
open
Okay.
space, it's away from everybody.
yes,
Susan, can you bring up the utility room again?
sure.
Okay, so the one thing I noticed that you're probably going to have to do is the entry door to utility room is where?
Right here,
So it comes out of this concession area, correct?
correct. And again,
Most
so the-
likely are
sorry.
going to have to move that door to the other end where those drinking fountains are. Because when you open that door, you're going to be exposing anybody who's in the concession area to all the chlorine and stuff that's coming out there. I don't know if that's going to be allowable or not. Something we need to check anyway.
Sure.
Because I've been in these rooms, these pump rooms, and sometimes the chlorine is overwhelming.
Yes,
Yes.
they need good ventilation.
So just for comparison, if we were to not choose the substitution, the layout is this. Here's one bathroom, then the other, the concession area, and the mechanical room. No, it's not separate.
I thought at Powerfly Park, there's a separate room for the like a separate building for the mechanics. Or is that-
There is, but that needs to be improved. We could do something similar for Stibe and just do a small building to support exclusively the mechanical and chemical room for this splash park.
And then when they're gonna build the mechanical room for the splash pad, they should be get in touch with the guy that do the maintenance or keeping eyes on the chemical, because and the polyfly equipment, they got problems sometimes to do any repairs or any maintenance. They're too small.
That
Yeah.
is correct, yeah.
The,
Joe
Poly-
Bourbon,
Yeah,
Sorry, Ron.
Polyfly Park is basically a large metal cabinet over the equipment, so you can't actually, access certain points.
Mhm.
They're able to go in to add chemicals, but basically beyond that, it's pretty limited. So I think at some point they were interested in building, like a utility shed type structure that you're able to at least stand up and move around.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Carver Park has two separate rooms, one chemical and one equipment.
Mhm.
The chemical room, it has large, plastic tanks that holds the liquid. One's muriatic acid and the other one's chlorine, and then it feeds it through piping into the pump room. But we did, that building wasn't ventilated properly, so we had to add special vents in there because it was eating all the equipment up and rusting everything. So
I would just be concerned if it's right in the same structure as the bathrooms and the concession stand. You just have to make sure it's vented properly.
Yeah.
And everything's okay.
Yep.
So in other words, the first building is a little bit bigger. So if we can work it out between the concession stand and the mechanical room to accommodate everything that we need, we always maybe got enough square footage to do so. But if we're gonna get to a second building that's gonna be smaller, we're gonna run into problems.
Yeah.
So I will stick with the first design, and I will work it out to separate, like the mayor said, that maybe we need an extra door or something. And that way, so you got plenty of time to redesign the building, because you got 6 months to get the building.
Right. I think the concession stand here is a very small
Exactly.
space. Just something with the refrigeration, more for our rec program, that they have somewhere to keep, to store refrigerated items and,
That's it. Yeah.
food. That's it.
Okay,
yeah, I think it's similar to M&M. It just has, the 3-bay sink and just a spot to sell chips and
Yeah,
canned
no,
soda.
no working stove or anything like that. Not at all.
Right.
Yeah.
correct, yes.
So open to the public to see what they say.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Susan.
Okay, Vinny. We'll be opening this up to the public at the end during public session.
Okay,
Yeah.
item 2 is discussion regarding the NJDOT grant opportunity. Millennium Strategies and the project managed team is here for that. Susan, do you see the person from Millennium?
Who am I looking for in the?
It's Laura Weintraub, I believe her name is, and Carly. What's Carly's last name? O'Connell?
Laura's there.
Laura, I just added, and who was the other person?
Carly?
Carly O'Connell.
Frank, I think it's the CO
Yep,
O'Connell.
They're both joining right now.
Hi, Laura.
Hello.
Hi.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Hi, Mayor and Council, everyone on the call. Thanks for having us. I'm Carly O'Connell, the city's grant manager for Millennium Strategies, and Laura Weintraub, Director of Client Services, also here on the call. We're here to talk about a new grant opportunity. It's the NJDOT Local Transportation Project Fund. And I will introduce the grant, go over the basics of it. And the purpose is to go over the basics, and then project management will discuss 2 possible projects that will apply to the grant for. And then we'll give some some feedback on that and which project we feel might be a stronger fit. So I'll go ahead and share my screen here. Oh, here we go. Okay, can everyone see that?
Yes.
Great. So the name of the grant is New Jersey Department of Transportation Local Transportation Projects Fund Grant Program. It is being accepted on a rolling, accepted and awarded on a rolling basis. The applications are currently open, and we are looking to submit as soon as possible. Basically, applications are being accepted as they come and until the funds run out. So we want to apply as soon as possible. In terms of funding, there is $75 million total. We expect that the anticipated award range will be between $750,000 to $1.5 million. This is a pretty large amount for DOT grants, so this is a great opportunity. And we expect there'll be approximately 50 to 100 awards made. A little bit about the grant. It provides funding to municipalities for local transportation improvement projects, including a wide range of activities. These include road improvement, road resurfacing, road rehabilitation, road reconstruction, signalization, bridge improvements. In addition to those, the DOT set aside 10% of their total funding, or $7.5 million, allocated specifically to pedestrian safety, bikeway, and streetscape projects. Projects are graded on the following criteria: existing road conditions, average daily traffic volume of vehicles, safety concerns, improving access to public facilities, including schools, residential areas, employment centers, etc., readiness to construct, and performance on previously awarded grants. They have multiple categories for this grant. As I said, it's a wide range. So they range from bikeway to bridge preservation, helping mobility, pedestrian safety, quality of life, roadway preservation, and roadway safety. And in terms of what the grant funds, it funds construction costs and also allows for 15% of those construction costs, the amount in 15% of the construction costs to go to inspection and material testing. So that is a little bit about the grant just overall. And then I was going to turn it over to Susan and Ryan to go through the two potential projects that we are thinking about.
Carly, thank you so much. Before we go into discussing the two projects, can you please remind me, I believe this one, there is no match required?
Correct.
Okay, and then also, which is really nice. And I believe last we spoke about this, 40% have been awarded, or?
Right. Last week, we reached out to NJDOT, and their update was that approximately 40% of the funding has already been allocated. It opened up in late September, I believe. So just another, exactly. It's going quick, so we do want to apply as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you so much, Carly. I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to have Ryan just talk about the two different projects. So just give me a moment. Okay, Ryan, whenever you're ready.
Okay, it looks like the first option is going to be some pedestrian improvements to Prospect Avenue, specifically in the area from Essex Street to Beach Street. Last year in 2020, the city received a technical assistance grant from the North Jersey Transportation Planning Authority, which allowed us to perform a walkable community workshop. Councilman Battaglia was part of that. Due to COVID, we didn't actually go out on the walk. We did it virtually. And basically what we did was transportation professionals from NJTPA and the Rutgers Voorhees Transportation Center. We did an assessment of this corridor from Essex Street in front of the hospital north to, the original plan was to do Atlantic Street and then head down Atlantic, but due to the hospital construction at that time, It was kind of blocked off, and it was just easier to go up to Beach Street, and that allowed us to incorporate the high school. So then I went down Beach Street east down to First Street. And what this did was it participants in the walkable community workshop were people members from the hospital, people who lived in the area, members of the Board of Ed. And basically what we did was we literally just, using Google Street View, walked the streets, and then we pointed out any things that were of concern. So basically that would be Thompson, the intersection, the hospital exits and entrance, Beach Street. Susan, if you could pan to page 26 so they could get a visual of what some of the improvements we'll be submitting for. As you can see in this picture, in the green specifically is it's called a road diet. So what we would do is do some striping and some installation of bollards that visually it narrows the lanes, so it visually makes people slow down. We'll also install some bollards and improve, as you can see, improve the crosswalks, improve the signage. So if you could just keep going, Susan, so they could get a look at each aspect. That's the hospital entrance and exit. As you can see, an improved crosswalk, do curb extensions, so it limits the distance that people have to walk across that entrance. Similar down at Atlantic Street, where we do, turning lanes on Atlantic Street, improved crosswalks, maybe even add some of the blinking pedestrian signs could be part of it. It's basically just doing complete street improvements to this corridor is what we would be submitting for. And what's good is we have a bulk of the conceptual plans already done because we were able to receive this walkable community. So what we would need for submission would just be some engineering, and I think that about covers it. And if anybody has any questions regarding this one, or else we'll move on to the next topic.
Thank you, Ryan. I just wanted to add that these were recommendations. However, if we want to modify anything, we are at liberty to do so.
Yes, and again, if you could also add these to other intersections, not set in stone that we specifically have to do each one of these. These are standard upgrades that could be put anywhere. It just so happened that we did the corridor as a grant.
Yeah, it's the mayor. The other area I'd like to see maybe we could possibly focus on is the Thompson Avenue crosswalk. That's a real rough crossing right there.
Yes. Yeah, that's
here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
they
see
added,
that, if you look in like the lighter yellow, that shortens the distance people have to cross. So it kind of does a lane shift. And then each one of those yellow dots are reflective bollards that stick up. So that, it all just allows for better visibility. Because even, we have the pedestrian signs, we have the two different kinds of flashing signs, and I see people all the time, they don't stop for people crossing still. So it's definitely a good spot to improve.
okay. Should we move on to the next one?
Yes.
Okay, we don't have an exhibit prepared for the next, oops. Share screening has stopped, window closed. Do you still see my screen?
Nope.
Nope.
Okay, just give me a second. We don't have a presentation, but I could definitely bring it up on Google Maps just so everyone has a reference. Give me 1 second.
There comes the sound.
Okay. So this is at the northern end of the city. And what we're looking at right now is West Lookout. Here is Burn. And the three roads that we were considering are West Lookout. Hold on a second, let me just zoom out. Having trouble navigating. So it's West Lookout, Burn, and Brook Street. And for this, we'd like to do some drainage improvements as well as resurfacing of the road. If you saw in the street view, the condition of the road is pretty poor. And also and this is related to the drainage. I don't know, Ryan, is there anything else you'd like to add to this, or do you want me to
Yeah,
just go through?
this area is kind of it's isolated and it's already separated, so we wouldn't be able to use any iBank funding. And we've gotten numerous complaints from this area. Basically, the intersection of West Lookout and Burn is susceptible to ponding because of the type of storm drains that are there. And because of the steep incline on West Lookout, the road is constantly being patched by DPW because the amount of water just washes out the physical road itself. And we've also gotten some complaints on Burn, 17 Burn, specifically after Ida. They had some major flooding issues. It's just an isolated area that we know we've had several complaints that we're looking to just improve by getting some assistance. It's basically with mill and pave, some upgraded storm, and basically I think upsize the storm pipe itself.
Okay, that just so you know that the ponding was really bad on Burn and West Lookout today.
Yeah.
We came home, it was like a lake over there, and there was a catch basin right there, so it's not flowing.
Yeah, well, that's
pretty small.
Small one, actually. It's weird. I think that was put in, I don't know how long, but it's basically, they must have had a ponding issue always there, so they just dropped in a small catch basin with like a 4-inch pipe tying it to an adjacent manhole. So it kind of backfeeds, and it's always, if it's raining, it's always going to be flooded. So we're trying to correct all that. And then up the hill was, it's just a mess. So.
So that concludes project management's portion. And based on the information we've provided, we wanted Millennium just to offer some feedback about which project might be more successful for this particular grant. Carly or Laura?
Great. So thanks, Susan and Ryan. I'm going to go back to sharing my screen if I can. Just to bring up the overview again, as I discuss each project. So based on our understanding of the grant opportunity, this is a new grant opportunity. So, we don't have years of experience to go back on, but based on the guidance and the scoring criteria here, both projects are certainly eligible. They fall into the eligible categories. The first project is mainly pedestrian safety, and the second project would mainly be considered roadway preservation. But looking at the scoring criteria, we feel that the first project, Prospect Ave, is probably a stronger fit in terms of this program. To go over some of the scoring criteria, so existing road conditions, of course, the second project clearly has some problems there that does fit both of those projects. Average daily traffic is something that DOT looks at a lot. Because of the areas, the first project is kind of center of a lot of things, by the hospital, the high school, a lot of downtown kind of area, and residential and schools. There's likely a much higher ADT, so that will be taken into consideration. That's kind of a strength of that project. And the Walkable Communities report that Susan and Ryan referred to for the first project discusses several safety concerns, including that Thompson crosswalk and other things like that. Another one is improving access to public facilities, schools, residential areas, employment centers. Again, the first project, based on its location more in the center of things, would be a stronger fit for that. And the last two, neither project really hits these better. Hackensack, I'm sure, is ready to construct, and their performance on previous awarded grants is in good standing, so we don't have to worry about those. So we feel, in terms of scoring criteria, the first project hits these points a little more strongly. But just want to also note that, also comes down to priorities and what is a priority for the city. Again, they both are eligible, but in terms of the application, we feel the first project would be stronger and probably easier to defend, especially because we have that walkable communities report that we are able to upload and point to in the application.
Good.
Laura, did I miss anything? Anything?
No, I
you wanna
think you hit all the main points. I was just thinking, going to add about the fact that there is that planning document, which really shows a lot of groundwork that's already been laid in terms of, establishing the need for the project.
Okay,
So we'll,
thank you for your presentation, guys.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And if anybody would like a copy of that walkable community report, we can send that over to you if you're interested.
Yes, I would like it.
And,
Okay, well,
I'm sorry, the last statement is, and because the money is being awarded quickly, we're hoping for a decision on which project the city wants to proceed with sooner than later so that we could finalize the application documents and submit our application. Thank you.
Should have it on November 9th.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Vinny?
Ready.
Okay. Item number 3 is discussion regarding a resolution reappointing Jason Soam as the Bergen County Homelessness Trust Fund Task Force reappointment. This is a reappointment. Just everybody, just an A or an A regarding that.
I'm good with that.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
Very good. All right, next is a discussion regarding the COVID-19 mini grant program for renters. And I'll turn it over to Jim Mangan, our CFO.
Thanks, Vinny. Yeah, just what I wanted to do was just give everybody an update on the COVID-19 mini grant program. We outlined both programs several meetings ago, and about a month ago, we rolled out the small business grant program. This is where small businesses that are based in Hackensack that were affected by the pandemic are eligible for grants between $1,000 and $2,000 that are being given by the city. We received stimulus money as revenue replacement for what we lost because of the COVID-19 pandemic. But the mayor and council dedicated $1 million of the money that we received to help small businesses and renters. Like I said, we rolled out the small business grant program about a month ago. It's being facilitated by the Hackensack Regional Chamber of Commerce. They've been a big help. Applications are coming in. Strongly encourage any business that qualifies, small business, to apply. Details are on the city website, right on the homepage itself. And just this past week, we launched the Renters Program. Now, this program is geared toward low income to moderate income residents who suffered financially because of the pandemic. Now, the way this program works is the state and the county already have programs out there to help renters. And quite frankly, their programs give a lot more money than we do. So what we do is we strongly encourage any Hackensack resident that qualifies for either the state or the county program to apply for their programs. But if for some reason you haven't applied for the state or the county program, or you were deemed ineligible for whatever reason, you can certainly apply to the city program. And we'll be offering grants of roughly about $1,000 to people that are qualified to help with rental assistance. Because the county and the state both have programs for low-income residents, we expanded the income limit on our program to include moderate income people. So we strongly encourage any resident, who suffered financially because of the pandemic, and they need rental relief or they have to pay their landlord arrears, check out the program on the city website. Like I said, we just launched it this week. It actually went live, kind of a soft opening on Friday, and then we launched it for real yesterday. And there's been a number of applications that have come in already, probably about 60 or 70 in the last 24 hours. But we do strongly encourage everybody, check it out on the city website. It's right on the homepage. These two programs, it'll explain you can apply online. It's the application process isn't very difficult. It guides you through a number of questions that you have to answer. Like I said, the business program is being facilitated by the Hackensack Regional Chamber of Commerce. They're available to help anybody who has any questions. And the renters program is being facilitated by Greater Bergen Community Action. Likewise, their email address is part of the application process. If you have any questions, you can always refer to them. Okay. But again, just want to remind everybody, check out these two programs on the city website, okay, because they're in full swing right now. And in one of the future meetings, not the next meeting, possibly the meeting after, we may be able to start announcing the first round of grant recipients. Okay. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. But again, I just ask everybody to check out the city website for all the details. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. All right, Vinny, next.
Last item on the agenda is the CSO stormwater update. So project manager team and suburban engineering.
Okay.
Project management will be presenting. I'm going to share my screen one more time. Okay. So there's Ryan and myself. Ryan, again, will present the construction portion and I will present the engineering portion. Ryan?
Yep. Thank you, Susan. Good evening. The Clay Street sewer separation progress update. This is from the last count meeting and up until last week, which would be 10/20. During that time, there was 200 linear feet of sanitary sewer infrastructure installed and 1,525 linear feet of heavy cleaning and inspection of the existing combined sewer had occurred. Again, there was multiple utility conflicts that were had to be relocated. And as far as the active construction, the contractor is currently installing the new sanitary sewer on Clay Street and Park Street. Contractor is heavy cleaning and inspecting the existing combined sewer on Park Street. And the heavy cleaning and inspection needs to be completed before the structural lining can be installed on the existing combined sewer, which will turn into just the sanitary once the new storm is being completed. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Again, we've provided some photos of the actual work that was performed just for some reference. Okay, so on to the engineering portion. We have, I'll get to the Anderson Street, but first I just wanted to give an update from the last meeting regarding Clay Street Contract 3. Suburban has finalized the design, so they're now 100% complete. They uploaded it today for us to review. That's this green part of the project. Contract 4, which is this pink section of the project, it says 60% because we updated this last week, but they are currently 70% complete. And again, these plans were uploaded onto, or for the city to view, meaning city officials to view and comment. Again, that's this magenta version and this green version or line work. What we've added to the slide for this week is the Anderson Street separation that's represented in the orange. This services the west side of the rail as well as James Berry and Ryan, what's the third road? James Berry. Stanley, that is correct. Thank you so much. So this project primarily alleviates the surcharge within the low-lying areas between First and Railroad, south of Passaic, and within the Anderson CSO area. So that CSO area is different from the area that these ones are serving, but they complement each other. Design and permitting has begun, And the earliest this project can be bid is July of next year, depending on the construction status of the construction downstream, meaning these sewers. That concludes our presentation. Any questions, please do ask.
Okay, where are we with the heading up the hill from Union Street up Clay?
That's, we're still waiting on the box culverts to be delivered. So we're doing all the associated work that doesn't involve the box culverts because they were delayed due to being built. And they are on schedule to be delivered the end of this month. So hopefully within the next 2 weeks, they'll be on site and then we could start that portion.
Okay, any other questions from the council?
Ryan, I'm sorry, Mayor. Ryan, are those the box culverts, are those designed different than the ones that we're gonna be putting into storage?
I believe they're larger, yes.
Okay.
That's the only difference. It's the ones that have been built on Camden Street where they're gonna pick up. I think they're 4x5. And the ones from the hospital are slightly smaller.
Yeah, they're
Okay.
3x4, and we intend on using them here.
Yeah, I think on the west of the rail, right? That's where they're.
Yeah, the green line, actually the east of the rail, the green
East.
line
East of the rail.
here, yeah. The one where it's 100% complete and they've been uploaded today. So
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Council, any questions? Okay, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Mayor,
anything else,
that's all I have on the agenda, so want to open it up.
all right, I need a motion to open to the public, please.
Offer.
Need a second.
Second.
Roll call. Roll call.
Councilmember Von Rudenberg,
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino,
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia,
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll,
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Anybody from the public who would like to speak, please give your name to the clerk and you will have 3 minutes. Can I have the clock, Frank?
Yep. So first up, we have a few hands raised. I'm gonna get the clock ready. First, am I sharing the wrong thing? I was sharing the live stream feed. Hold on 1 second. Do you guys see the clock?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Okay, who's
First up,
first?
we have Gary Terzano.
Okay. Go ahead, Gary. Gary, unmute yourself.
How's that?
There you are.
Okay, hi, everyone. Real
Hey.
quick, the Thompson Street and Prospect Avenue cross area. I was invited to that meeting. I guess it's been over 2 years ago. And presently, I like some of the improvements that have done. However, the two existing pair of flashing amber lights, one faces south towards Essex Street on the east side of Prospect, and the other set faces is on the west side facing north. Though I had made a comment back then that those two lights on facing the south side have to be adjusted. I've taken a ride and had taken pictures that in a car you cannot see those two flashing lights until you're practically on top of the crosswalk. All they have to be done is to be aimed more down Prospect towards Essex Street, and that would solve an issue as far as those two lights. So let's please work on that. Okay, number two, I came in late on this meeting on the Sky Park splash pad. I just have a question on how we can protect some of the residents up there with some of the sound, some kind of an acoustic or sound attenuation barrier, maybe around the splash pad. I can see where it was relocated now closer to the properties with the fences that are on the summit side. I think it just could be looked at to see if we could do something that's aesthetically pleasing, but also to maybe deaden some of that sound when the kids are, because the kids holler, they're little, they scream, they're having fun. But it may become somewhat of a nuisance at times for the residents in that area. It's tight, I understand it, but if the project managers and the engineers can look into it, I would appreciate that. That's all I really have. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gary. Next person from the public with their hand raised, Frank?
Okay, next up, we have Nita Rivers.
Thank you,
Yep.
and good evening, Mayor, City Council. First and foremost, let me thank the city manager for assisting me once again in terms of preparation for our latest storm occurrence. I appreciate it, and I also appreciate the extension of the permits, as I'm still hoping for insurance monies to help help alleviate some of the challenges I'm having in trying to rebuild and repair my home from the tremendous losses that I incurred. I've been doing a fair amount of research, and I came across a very interesting article, and it is something that was the result of a summit conducted by the United States National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, along with the United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs. And it's a document that was written in 2004 in terms of flood guidelines. And it talks about integrated water resource management plans. So I want to ask City Council and all concerned about what kind of mitigation management plans are in place, and in particular, what kind of emergency resources are available that address prevention, preparedness, that's pre-disaster, during a particular disaster, what kind of relief and response is available, and then post disaster, what kind of rehabilitation, reconstruction, economic recovery might be available for the citizens of Hackensack. If you can address those questions for me, that would be greatly appreciated, as I'm still coming under, as I coming out of, as I expressed in previous meetings, a tremendous amount of loss from Hurricane Ida due to the flooding situation. I'm finished.
Okay, Mr. I'm not going to obviously have all those answers right here in hand, but what I will do is I will put you in touch with our emergency response personnel, John Nyland. He deals with FEMA. He deals with all the emergency response agencies, and you know, we'll tell him, if you could send me the information, you can email it to my address, my city address, so I can prep him for it, and I can certainly have him either call you or speak with you in person if that's what you wish.
May I ask, Mayor, if this addresses city level needs, services? I am familiar with FEMA. I've been working with FEMA and trying to mitigate my own issues, but I'm really thinking of myself as well as my community, and what kind of management plan is in place that addresses community needs in terms of these types of disasters.
Well, he is the emergency management person, a point person for the city.
Okay.
But as far as financially, the city supporting in this, there is nothing available for that. There are other plans in place for evacuations, for stuff of that nature. But financially, the city is not going to have an answer for you or me. I also suffered tremendous loss here at my home, and you know, it's up to whatever insurance I can grab and whatever I can get from FEMA. And I'm sure you're dealing with the same thing. And the amount offered was minimal compared to what my loss is. So I understand exactly what you're going through. Believe me.
Yes, I understand that, Mayor, and I appreciate that. I really am looking for some type of, I guess, integrated mitigation management plan that can be communicated to the community, so we kind of know what to do to prepare, what we can do during. Even in terms of evacuation, I expressed my challenges in trying to get evacuated, which I was not evacuated during Hurricane Ida, and even afterwards, in terms of what kinds of community support can we expect from the city. So I guess I'm looking at it not only from my own personal vantage point, but from a community vantage point as well. Thank you so much.
What I would do is I'm going to have a city manager and John Island both reach out to you. You can have a Zoom meeting, probably the best way to do it, or a conference phone call, and go over exactly what you're looking for and see what answers they have for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Ms. Rivers. Okay, Frank, next person from the audience.
We have Edward Matera.
Okay. Sir?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Great. My name is Ed Matera. I live at 152 Coles Avenue. I'm directly across the street from the playground area in Stuyve Park. Going back to the beginning of the presentation concerning the building of the concession stand and the bathrooms, I'm just curious as to which direction the building is going to face. Is it going to be in the same direction as far as bathroom access? So for example, the bathroom access now for the girls and the boys is north and south. Is it going to be in the same area, the same direction, or is it going to be different? And the concession, where's the concession window? Is it going to be facing the park?
The one diagram I saw today, Mr. Matera, well, do you have other issues? Because I don't want to use your time while.
Well, the other concern, of course, is the splash pad and the proximity to the residents around the park in this particular area. It just seems that out of the entire area, how many acres the park is, it seems that all of the recreation is located in this small area, directly impacting all of the residences. And all of the other areas that are open, whether it be the ball field towards the parking area and whatever, is all empty. Now, I'm certainly not against having the kids enjoy, their recreation or whatever, but it seems at this point the only thing missing is a carousel. I mean, is that going to be the next thing that we're going to have in this area? There's a influx of people, not only from the neighborhood using the park, which is wonderful, but we also have a lot of people from the outside coming in and using it. We're very limited as far as parking. Is the parking going to be expanded down there also to accommodate or not? That's it.
There has been no talk of expanding the parking at this time. I know a lot of people during summer months and spring months, we could use the overflow with that other area that's empty right now, though there might be some plans to do other things in that area. A lot of these local parks, we find that a lot of people walk with their children to the park. Carver Park, for instance, has very, very limited parking, much less than Stuyve. And we have not had any parking issues there, nor Second Ward Park or Polyfly Park has very limited parking as well, with no parking lot just for the park. So these are local parks, and we're looking for local people to use them. For a child who lives in the Fairmount section, in order to use the splash pad, would have to drive all the way over to either Polyfly Road or to Carver Park in order to use it. So the parking, to me personally, isn't a concern. I can understand your concern because you live there. I don't have an answer for you why, to put in other words, if we put a splash pad in the middle of a ball field, that's going to eliminate the use of the ball field. So that part's not going to work. I understand there was concern from Mr. Tizano earlier about sound, and our engineers will definitely look into that. But I can honestly say I haven't seen or heard of any complaints of sound from the children bothering anybody at the other parks, which are rather close to residential areas just as well as this one would be. So understanding your concerns, but again, it's a weight and balance thing. But the park definitely, going back to what Mr. Trezano said, I can understand the kids in the splash park getting excited, making some noise, but they would do the same thing in the playground area. So thank you for your time, Mr. Matera. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next person, please.
Okay, next up, we have Master Trainer Suga Shane.
Okay. Sir, unmute yourself, please. Or ma'am. Are you there?
She's unmute, or they are unmuted, but we're not
Hear me?
getting. Oh,
Hello?
Yes,
Oh, come on. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes. Yes. Hello?
Yes.
Sorry about that. I'm the owner of a studio, personal training studio on Main Street, 817 Main Street. We've been here over a year now, but we've been having some issues of people driving on our sidewalk. It's a pretty much deep sidewalk. I don't know if you know the area, but from 817 all the way to maybe 823, that sidewalk on Main Street is pretty deep or big, and there's a lot of different situations where cars will drive along that path or the sidewalk. And I'm worried because sometimes I have clients running outside and stuff. I mean, you shouldn't do it anyway, but I'm just worried about my client's safety. I was told, the cop said, yes, get the license plate number and all that kind of stuff. And that's fine. You actually did catch somebody, but it doesn't really, it's like pretty much putting a Band-Aid over, gushing wound. So I just want to know if it's possible to maybe put something to prevent cars from cement, I don't know what they call, like cement column, like right by the beginning of the sidewalk and maybe down along the other stores, near the other stores, because I literally saw somebody drive along the sidewalk, right past my studio, drive all the way down. There's like 2-3 stores down is a dry cleaner, parked his car, took his dry cleaner out on the sidewalk still, and went inside, came back out and drove off. So I'm just worried about my client's safeties. I mean, everybody's safety actually, because it's crazy. It's actually crazy that people do that. But yeah, that's it.
All right, I appreciate you for bringing this up to us. I'm going to have the city manager contact the traffic division and see if we could put up maybe not only some signage, but if we put some signs along the area between the sidewalk. Is there a curve there, by the way?
Yeah. Well, it's
Right,
pretty low. The curve is pretty low. People actually usually park on it. It's pretty much, yes. It's a curve there, but people.
I was just
Yes?
going to say that I know where that is, and it's a lower curve for some reason. Like if someone drives up on it, it's not going to hurt their tire or anything. So that's probably why they're doing that. Yeah.
So we might be able to put some type of bollards or signage up, signs that, because the signpost itself will stop somebody from going up on the curb there. If we could space them out appropriately, that might help alleviate the situation. But I'm going to leave that up to the traffic division and the city manager. But it's now on his list to go look at and take care of. So thanks for bringing
a garbage can. A garbage can will stop it.
Yeah, that's another. Yeah, that's something. Yeah, that would help. I mean, it's something that's to stop them from driving on there.
That's
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Main, Mayor?
817 Main. Yes.
817.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too. Next person with their hand raised from the public, please.
Okay, next up. Okay,
No, for some
next
reason they couldn't
up,
hear me.
we have Katie Costco.
Great. Okay, thank you. Yes, my husband and I live at 871 Summit, and we are that lot 27 that is butted up right next to the playground. And so I just wanted to reiterate my concerns about the splash pad being too close to our house. I mean, my neighbor right next door to me would be right behind her house, which is, these are very small lots, so you can imagine how close these children would be to us if you did put the splash pad in the proposed A. You had it So I'm glad that you are listening to our concerns and that people are thinking about us, because we really haven't been involved at this point, and now we know that this project is going on. We're hoping that, I heard somebody mention a carousel. I hope that's not really in the offing.
No.
But I'm glad that you're paying attention to how many trees are also being cut down, because it's really been a very lovely park and we've enjoyed living right next to it. Now we're concerned about how many people are going to be coming over and making lots of noise all summer long. I mean, it's been very, very beautiful up to this point. It's just a little bit concerning because we actually live literally on the park. So you can understand my concern. We're hoping that the project will be on a little bit smaller scale rather than larger scale, and just appreciate that you are paying attention to us as residents.
Okay, I thank you, Ms. Costco, and I understand your concerns. We're going to look, and the reason we have this meeting ahead of time is so we listen to your concerns, so we can look for answers to help alleviate any situation that we think is a possible problem, and certainly noise right on your, on
Yes,
your property is an issue. So we
moving
will,
the splash pad to the Plan B would probably be a step in the right direction. Even though, I know the kids need to enjoy the park, but there's also many adults and their dogs, and, it's quiet. It is used in its present state quite a bit and enjoyed just as it is. So I'm a little against all of the changes. I'm a little trepidatious about, how many new people. There's also right down the street, there's all these new condominiums and apartments being built down there on Kinderkamak on Johnson. So there will be a lot more residents coming over to this park, and it is very small. So it's a little bit of a concern to us.
I understand your concerns, and we're going to, we're writing everything down. I know the city managers, and we'll be reviewing this meeting to go over all this. That's why we have this meeting ahead of time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, next up we have Louis Discapola. I think I said that right.
Say it again, Discapola?
Yeah, Louis Discapola.
Yes, good evening. It's Louis DeCepola. Yep, that's correct. Yeah, I'd like to address the splash pad proposal in Sly Park. And the first point I'd like to make is it really needed? I mean, I think that's the first question the mayor and city council you need to ask. I live near Carver Park, and most of the time there's an existing splash pad there, and I kind of see that it's underutilized. I would say about half the time, I don't even see anyone using it at all. I mean, when they use it, yeah, it's fun. I think it's a great idea. I think it's great the city is planning to try to incorporate these in the city. But I think you really have to look at the benefit you're getting and for the dollars that it would cost. The second point I want to make is I think it just adds to the further loss of pervious surfaces in our city. And I've been gathering metrics in conjunction with the Environmental Commission and the state trade tree. And what we're seeing is the levels of impervious surfaces in Hackensack is already pretty high. In addition, our tree canopy the state of our canopy coverage is very poor. So what I would ask is let's not increase the levels of impervious surfaces even further. I think there are other locations that would be better choices. In Carver Park, I think it was an existing playground, asphalt concrete surface. I think that was a good location. I just think that overall, Sty Park is just a bad choice of location. I still think they're good ideas. I think I'm great the city is looking at it, but I really think Sty Park is a poor location, increasing the level of impervious surfaces even further. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
Thank you, sir. Next person from the public with their hand up, Frank.
Okay, next up we have Jen Ballantyne.
Would it be or a V?
B. I think it's Ballantyne.
Hi, I'm here. Jennifer Ballantyne. Can you hear me?
How are you? Yes, ma'am.
I live at 831 Summit Avenue, so I am also very close to the park. And I heard some of my fellow neighbors on Summit Avenue that back up to the park. So I do agree that option one for the splash pad is not probably the best idea given the proximity to those houses. I've had neighbors that we've enjoyed many summers over there and heard the kids at the park. But I do believe also that it's important that all of the children of Fairmont have a place to play and enjoy. And with the exception of the playground, I do believe that Plan B for the splash pad is a great idea. The baseball field, while utilized often, is not utilized for formal Hackensack baseball with the exception of T-ball given its size. So I think that there is an opportunity to bring more kids in the Fairmont area to the splash pad and to doing something outdoors that's enjoyable. So I'm a proponent of it. I believe in that getting the kids outside is a great idea, especially the younger kids. I do think that there's a time frame where the splash pad will be on and off so that it's not like a late night activity for, loud interaction for other people to come in and enjoy. But I also know that I've driven my kids to Carver Park many times, and I wish that I didn't have to drive them to enjoy that kind of activity. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Valentine. Frank, next person from the public.
Okay, next up we have Peter Marchesghani.
Marchesghani.
Marchesghani. I knew I had it wrong.
You got it right, Frank. Close enough. I just unmuted myself.
Depends on which part of Italy you're from.
Yeah, well, at least you can hear me anyway. I feel like Governor Murphy, if you don't like splash pads, perhaps Hackensack is not your town. I'm only kidding, of course. I'm ambivalent on the splash pad. On one hand, I think it's a great idea. On the other hand, I can now see the concern of the residents. And one of the things I was going to bring up is I didn't know where this came from. All of a sudden, this proposal for the splash pad seemed to have popped out of the blue. And if you look at the signs that were put up a few months ago on the improvements to the park, there's nothing that says anything about a splash pad. So aside from the fact that some of the residents got word of this COW meeting and the agenda, I wouldn't know how they would know to voice their concerns. I think maybe it would have been helpful, for example, to involve the residents, something like a zoning variance, for example, where the residents get a letter in the mail saying, we have a proposal and we'd like to call a meeting, either a virtual meeting or perhaps in person, given the fact that COVID maybe is abating a little bit more. But I think that would have been a good place to start. I was opposed to the splash pad at first because I thought it was just an unnecessary addendum. But I can see also, where, hey, listen, parks are for fun and for kids. Probably the splash park has a better purpose up there than the ball field, which is probably used on Sunday mornings by beer league guys running amok. The other thing I was concerned about was the building. I don't know what the structure of the building's for. Am I correct in assuming this for like the summer camp program and it's only going to be used a couple of weeks of the year? I guess it wouldn't be if it were a splash pad, but if there were no splash pad, I guess the building itself, other than the bathrooms, would just be for the camp activity, which I think was one of the things that was mentioned early on, that it would protect the kids in case we had a sudden storm during that late June or early August times when the camp is open. So that's all I have to say on that. I mean, I do want to mention just briefly, though, this mess on Prospect. I mean, the fact that you would propose bumping out the eastern side of Prospect and putting bollards in, just narrowing that lane there, I just think is not a good idea. I think it's just one lane now for ambulances because the 3 lanes going south are for through traffic, right turn and left turn only. So if there's ever a backup pulling into the hospital parking lot, ambulances can't even get through there. I do think that the Thompson crosswalk should be eliminated, quite frankly. A traffic light should be at the main entrance of the hospital with the crosswalk moved over there. And perhaps the hospital will be more than willing to fund that. That's a whole other question. Other than that, there's a lot that could be said on the sewer separation, but obviously we'll save that for another day. But thanks for listening. And I think the residents, was nice to hear some constructive comments on all of these things. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Peter. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Vinny, didn't some letters go out to the neighborhood?
They did, Mayor.
Okay. Yeah, the letters did go out. I don't know how much of Fairmount got the letters. Pete, but letters did go out. Next person with their hand up, please.
Okay, next up we have Eric Jordan.
Hi, thank you for the time to ask a couple questions here. I live at 160 Coles Avenue, directly across from the park. I think the layout for the park is beautiful. I think it's going to be great for kids to really enjoy. And I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the construction begin on it. One question and concern that I actually have is the parking. As you know, in Fairmont, obviously the streets are very narrow. And right now we have parking on both sides of Coles Avenue, which normally is never a problem. During the summer camps, obviously cars were parked on both sides, which essentially turns Coles Avenue into a single lane road. So the only way people, if they're coming in from opposing directions, is to kind of duck into people's driveways, which is never a problem. You know, obviously, you know, I understand driving up and down Coles Avenue every day. I was wondering if, I'm not asking you to restrict parking, but I was wondering if there's anything you can do to entice drivers to want to park in the parking lot, even if you had just a single sign that stated parking for splash pad, let's say, and you just had the parking lot maybe filled with diagonal lines for parking or whatever the planning board would think would be the best layout, just to entice visitors to park in that area. I'm not asking for any restrictions or anything like that, but you know, that's one of my concerns. That's pretty much everything I have.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Jordan. It's a legitimate concern, and that's another thing. I'm glad you brought it up because, you know, not living there, I don't see. I didn't even realize Coles had parking on both sides. Something I'll have the city manager look at along with traffic on maybe some signage, or, you know, even if they eliminated parking on the park side of it. I don't know how long that area is. It's not, how many cars are on the opposite side? Could you park maybe 4 or 5?
On the park side, they could pick probably 10 cars all the way from the lot to Summit Avenue. I would say about 10, maybe 12 cars. And then just, you know, several cars in front of each house could be parked there as well. So during the camps, there's quite a bit of traffic only during pickup and drop off, and then it quickly disperses. So it's never been a problem at all. But just a
That's
concern.
something, the park part, because, you know, the park is run, the thing is run by the city. So we could definitely work on that part right there where pickup has to be done in a certain area, certainly not right there by the, you know, where bottlenecks could be done down by the parking area. So that can be done. That's not a problem. But there are also some signage. I mean,
some signage, yes.
I'd hate to lose 10 or 12 spots, but, you know, again, we want the parking area used first and not the parking on the street across from your homes.
Yes, if possible. Again, maybe just to direct them in that direction, that they see the signage and they feel they'll park in the lot, but not restricting them, of course. Okay, thank you very much for answering my questions. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Jordan. Frank, anybody else from the public with their hand up?
We have one more. It is Donna DiCarlo.
Okay.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi. My name is Donna DiCarlo. I'm 785 Summit Avenue. And I just wanted to speak to the splash pad at Stibe. I have been going there for over 35 years, and we're still there many times during the week. We're looking forward to all the improvements that are going on and going to be happening, but I do have to say I'm kind of against the splash pad. It's always been like a quiet neighborhood park, and you know, I've met other parents coming from other towns actually that just come there because it's such like a nice little quiet park. And I'd hate to see us lose that, you know, by having a splash pad. I have 2 kids, a 5 and a 3-year-old, who love splash pads. We go to Polyfly Ave, we went to Van Swan, Bergenfield, Lyndhurst, and I see firsthand how many people congregate. You know, when you have a nice area and a nice splash pad, it just gets a big crowd. So I worry that we're going to lose the, you know, I guess the neighborhood feel of Stibe. And it would be very convenient because I'm 2 blocks away to walk my kids there and go. But I just feel like overall it would just change the whole dynamic of the area. And that's really it.
All right, I understand your concerns. This particular splash pad, I don't know if you saw the presentation, is not very large. I wish I had the square footage because I wanted to speak to Mr. I can't remember his name, Discapola's issue about losing impervious surfaces. It's really minimal. I would guess it would be, it's circular, so it's hard to come up with a square footage.
Maybe 350 square footage.
How much?
I would say 350.
350 square feet?
350 square footage total.
So this is not a large splash pad, but I certainly understand your concerns. But we're not looking to make it a, you know, we know it's a very passive park. We know it has been for years, but it was time for an upgrade. You know, obviously we were able to get some grant money and funding to do some of this work, and we have to take advantage of that. So, but I do understand your concerns, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the
We have
public?
no
Frank?
more hands raised from the public, but I know Debbie said that she had.
Yeah, there's a letter.
Yeah, I have a letter. Okay, it says, hi, my name is Gilda. I live in Hackensack. I'm writing in regards to the splash park in Stibe Park. My daughter, who is 9 years old, was excited to hear that her favorite park, which is Stibe, would have a splash pad. As a mom, I believe this is a great idea since it provides an opportunity for many kids to have fun and socialize with other kids. I believe Hackensack is growing with its infrastructure, but at the same time, it is important to focus on building more parks and recreational areas for children to stay active and enjoy seeing kids and doing kid-friendly activities. Having a splash park at Stibe will be beneficial to the residents in that area who have children, and also the summer camp that is stationed there, since they will have another activity for the kids to keep entertained as well as cool off during those hot summer days. I hope this project goes forward so our kids can enjoy it in the summer of 2022.
Okay, thanks for reading that, Deb. All right. Frank, still no one yet? Nobody else?
Nobody else in the public.
Motion to close to the public.
Offer.
Need a second.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Von Rudenberg.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia. Councilmember Carroll.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Okay, I need a motion to, we're going to go back into executive session, so I just need a motion to close the Cal meeting.
Do we have time, Mayor? Because it's already 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
I think we have to go back after this meeting, Mayor.
No,
right?
after, yeah, okay, afterwards, that's fine, yes. So I was just closing the Cal meeting, not the
Oh,
executive.
all right.
session.
I'm sorry. Okay. Thought you said executive. Okay.
You want to do
Yes,
that at the
offer.
beginning? You
Offer.
want to do that at the beginning of the next meeting, Deb?
Second.
And don't forget, I need to announce the cases as well.
All right.
Do you want to do, we can do that at the beginning of the next meeting so he can announce the cases and just
That's
do
fine.
everything? Okay.
That's fine.
Yep.
All right, let's leave this meeting. We'll be back in 2 to 5. Thanks.
Give us 5 minutes at least for bathroom break, okay?
Pissed off.
Thank you.